about Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines. Looks like it's about to bubble. Oh no! Pinatubo is an active stratic volcano and is located in the Luzon in the Philippines. Now you may ask, what's a stratic volcano? Stratic volcanoes compose of alternative layers and lava and ashes. They are also known as composite cones, which are the most deadliest volcanoes. Mount Pinatubo is said to be the ring of fire. Now we go to Britain.
The Philippine Islands originated as volcanoes built up from the ocean floor. The island of Luzon, where Mount Pinatubo is located, has 13 active volcanoes. The pattern of volcanoes around the rim of the Pacific Ocean is known as the Ring of Fire. Other volcanoes that make up the Ring of Fire are Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount St. Helens in Washington, and Paracatan in Mexico. Now let's get some of the geology of Mount Pinatubo. Pinatubo is on the west by the Zambales ophiolite complex, which is an easterly dipped section of Eocene ocean crust, which was uplifted during the late Oligocene in the Cenozoic era and lasted from about 33.7 to 23.8 million years ago. The tar-like formation consists of marine, non-marine, and volcaniclastic sediments in the northeast and southeast of Pinatubo. Pinatubo was formed in the late Miocene and Pliocene. The Miocene was from about 23.8 to 5.3 million years ago and was a time of warmer global climates than those preceding Oligocene or the following Pliocene. The Pliocene was from about 5.3 to 1.8 million years ago and was a time of global cooling after the warmer Miocene. The ancestral Pinatubo was an andesite and dacite stratovolcano whose center was in the same location of the current volcano. Now let's go to Sarah with the info on the eruptions of Mount Pinatubo.
The earliest eruption of Mount Pinatubo is 6100 BP. BP is years before present. The oldest historic eruption is 1315. The most recent eruption is 1992, and the largest eruption happened on June 15, 1991. The 1991 eruption had a VEI of 6. The VEI is the Volcanic Explosivity Index, which is a scale starting at 1. The number of eruptions in the 20th century is 2. Now let's talk about the big eruption of this volcano. At first, there were 3 earthquakes, small explosions, and emissions of steam and minor ash. After more than 2 months of increasing activity, strong explosions accumulated in one of the largest eruptions of this century. On June 15th, for more than 15 hours, volcanic ash plumes went straight up to 30 kilometers altitude into the sky. Within 10 days, the cloud formed a nearly continuous band that stretched 11 kilometers from Southeast Asia to Central Africa. Huge masses of volcanic material flew out of the crater and covered in a few days an area of more than 400 kilometers squared. Now let's go to Matthew, where he's going to give us some of the aftermath of the last volcano so we can have an idea of what to expect when this volcano blows again.
Thank you, Sarah. And in the aftermath of the eruption of Pinatubo, the summit has collapsed, creating a 2.5 kilometer caldera, lowering the summit 145 meters. The eruption left over 700 dead, and as time goes, the threat of lahars will only threaten lives, farmlands, roads, and towns in the Philippines. Lahars are giant mudslides made of volcanic matter, mud, and water. Lahars are huge mudslides made of volcanic rock fragments and water. These are the highest threat during typhoon season, which takes place in June and August. But thankfully, the Filipino government, the good people they are, evacuate their citizens for their safety. Now, to bring the anchor of our broadcast, let's take it to Charles.
Thank you, Matt. Now, how does a volcanic eruption interfere with our Mother Earth? Well, first it is known to affect the ozone. The halide acid has been shown to be effective in destroying ozone. However, the latest studies show that most volcanic halide acid is confined to the troposphere, where it is washed out by rain. It never has the opportunity to react with ozone, but satellite data after 1991 eruptions of Mount Pinatubo and Mount Hudson showed a 15 to 20% ozone loss at high latitudes and greater than 50% loss over the Antarctic. It appears that volcanic eruptions can play a significant role in reducing ozone levels. Now, we know how volcanoes affect the ozone, but what do they do to the greenhouse effect? Well, volcanic eruptions can enhance global warming by adding CO2 to the atmosphere. The Pinatubo eruption produced the largest sulfur oxide cloud this century. The combined aerosol plume of Mount Pinatubo and Mount Hudson diffused around the globe in a matter of months. Data collected after these eruptions show that mean world temperatures decreased by about 1 degree centigrade over the subsequent 2 years. This cooling effect was welcomed by many scientists who saw it as a counterbalance to global warming. Now that we know what to expect with the upcoming eruption and how it will affect not just the Philippines but many other places around the world, let's get back to your regularly scheduled program. Woo!
What's your news?